USDLT with Mr. Conectr. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell for daily content. Let's go.
Yeah, it's Mr. Conectr. Let me get this audio fixed. All right, we are live with the Market Intelligence Report. Hope everybody's doing good on this Saturday. I have been working on getting the intel out. Missed yesterday, so we're going to combine yesterday and today with all the market intelligence that we can. I finally got my green screen backdrop figured out. I was, it was okay that it was, laser eyes or whatever behind me where you could see the background coming through, but I actually, that wasn't on purpose. You got to have the right software to run your virtual background if you don't have a green screen behind you. So I was actually using a black screen and it was turning everything weird. But anyway, got this set up. So I think it's looking pretty good. What's up, IBD Cartel? We're running live this morning, Saturday, going through the market intelligence report. It's almost afternoon. We'll get there. Let's combine the 7th and the 8th. And yeah, I haven't done a live in a while, but we're back at it. I finally got a lot of things set up and I feel like I'm ready to go now. So let's get into it. Geopolitical and macroeconomics. We are reading from our AI agent intelligence report. I get a briefing every day, every morning. And this is everything we need to stay up to date on. First, like I said, geopolitical. U.S. loses 2,300 jobs in July, far below forecast. Let me see. I kind of like the. I like my music going, but kind of playing with how much volume should come out while I'm talking, because I do have a noise gate. IBD, I'm sure you know about that noise gate, and it drops it down a little bit while I'm talking. We'll go with that. Keep a little bit in the background. I usually have it where it cuts completely off. All right, I'm kind of sidetracked this morning doing it live, but let's get it going. Unemployment slipped to 4.1% as participation fell to 61.4% in the nation. And we've got hourly earnings rose only about 0.1% over the last month and 3.2% over the last year, below forecast. Local government education says minus 50,000 and retail minus 19,000 lead the decline, and healthcare at 22,000. I'm kind of still figuring out everything, how it's giving me the information here. Not everything's going to make sense right away. Just getting started on this type of live content. First kind of episode, Let's see if we've got anybody watching. We got 3 viewers. All right. What's up? Okay. Let's get to the Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Pakistan. They all signed a mutual defense pact. So they are teaming up. We've got crude oil softens while gold jumps on the missed jobs report. Detail is the WTI is $76 for a barrel of oil. Brent near $81.75, and gold advanced roughly 3% after the payrolls missed as the dollar rate hike odds eased. We've got some really good info coming up. The geopolitical section is over with. That's kind of a regular normie news. Let's get to the general crypto market. We got some news on Ripple and their confidentiality with I'll get to that in just a second. Let's go in order here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Remember the cold card fallout? That was a mess. We've had 210,000 Bitcoin leave long-term holder wallets as the cold card fallout. So So that's not from the cold card. That's the reaction of the cold card fallout hack. So yeah, long-term wallet holders are giving up in the space after that. They're scared about their Bitcoin being left on chain, even though it was not a chain problem. It was a weak seed generation problem from a company. The cold card, I forget the name of their parent company out of Canada, I do believe. We had attackers estimate around $120 million were drained from that attack. Users migration, they migrated to new wallets and or regulated custody rather than a classic top of cycle distribution. So I'm sure a lot of people went back into centralized exchanges, which, I'd be scared, especially now they do this hack and it rushes everybody onto the centralized exchanges for safety. But we know what's happened to centralized exchanges in the past, Pretty scary out there. We also had a Bitcoin Pay Lightning credential exploit. It drains merchant nodes. Details: the attackers exploited a critical BTC Pay server flaw to steal LND macaroon credentials and drain Lightning channels. Bitcoin Pay urged immediate update to a version 2.4.2 or take servers offline. A standard on-chain Bitcoin Pay wallets were not the attack paths in reviewed classes. Named victims included the Foundation Hardware and Citadel 21. Full loss tally not disclosed. Bitcoin Red Team, the AI assisted code reviewed, had flagged a class of issues as the attackers were already live. Bitcoin Lightning channels have been hacked. Explanation: this is a Rails security risk, not a protocol consensus failure. Merchant lighting ops and self-hosted payment stacks need patch discipline. AI finds bugs faster than humans patch is now an operational fact. Dang. Attackers everywhere, exploits everywhere. All right, we got Evan XRP. What's up, Evan? And Fishing with Camo Joe. Good to have you guys on the stream. Finally got my green screen behind me figured out, and we are ready to go with a live stream now for the market intel report. There's a Bitcoin soft fork that's trying to be implemented, and it's kind of weird that this is, I think it's like 2 or 3 days away. Weird that it's right after that cold card hack. BIP 110 fork. It's supposed to be this weekend sometime as a risk. DAT complex keeps unwinding. Digital asset treasuries, I guess. DAT complex keeps unwinding. Okay, here's the details. Developers warned that holders not to sell minority BIP 110 fork coins if a chain appears. So a fork is when so from what I understand, the soft fork doesn't invent a new coin, like Bitcoin Cash was a hard fork. But they're saying that developers warn holders not to sell minority fork coins if a chain appears. So if new coins appear, don't sell them, they're saying. Signed sales could replay against real Bitcoin until chains are completely cleaned and separated. Signed sales could replay against real Bitcoin. This is very confusing, especially when you're not into Bitcoin. Like, I haven't been in a while. I say what I say. What's up to you? Peace, everyone. Welcome to another Quantum Day. Yes. Quantum supremacy on the stream here with I say what I say. Details: developers warn not to sell. Yeah, I was just still trying to figure that out. It's supposed to be a soft fork, but they're saying some coins could appear. what better time to spam, though, with fake coins from another entity at the same time of a soft fork? There's no telling what could happen. Separately, Trump media terminated the planned public Crow accumulation vehicle with Crypto.com and related ETF servicing arrangement, citing market conditions and a pivot to media/fusion energy arrangement. That fusion's something else. Saw that, these data centers, there's a company that's been getting a lot of bids to drill down a mile underneath the surface and implant fusion reactors all over the country. But I don't know, that's kind of wild, don't you think? I guess they have to, they need that mile for the water. I think they put water on top of the fusion reactor in the well. That's wild, weird stuff, and getting weirder every day in the USA. Let's keep going. From the Trump merger, Crow sold off on the news of the Crypto.com, the Trump media pivoting to media and fusion energy. So Crow sold off on that news. Trump media still holds a large Bitcoin treasury and moved Bitcoin to Crypto.com linked addresses earlier this week. Fork hygiene is a user custody story. Digital asset treasuries unwind is a other side of last year's treasury boom. Branding rotation, not a new Rails product. So a lot of things rotate in and out. Follow the money, right? We see a lot of miners getting out of mining Bitcoin and using that compute to mine for inference, for AI data, inference. Large language models, those GPUs can be switched and repurposed. So that's always a factor in everything that we're looking at. All right, I hope everybody's doing good. Today on the Saturday, what's the date, 8th? Yes, today's the 8th, all day long. Already into August, 8/8. Wow, that's a good day, right? There's been a lot happen on the 8/8 in the previous years. So let's keep an eye on that today on what's coming out. Traditional finance and crypto convergence. Here we go. XRPL targets institutional RWA privacy on live tokenized books. They want their tokenized assets and they want them private. Details are confidential transfers, which are opt-in MPT payments first. Those are multi-purpose tokens. Those are new tokens on the XRP ledger. It came out about a year ago, and they are similar to Trustline tokens, but they're more efficient. So opt-in MPT payments first, not DEX escrow checks in V1, plus batch up to 8 transactions. Fee sponsorship and permission delegation amendments are explicitly pitched at funds, bond-style tokenized assets already on Ledger. So they're just saying there that these assets are already coming on Ledger, and now they've got the opportunity to turn on confidential transfers, which are opt-in MPT payments first, not DEX escrow or checks yet. And you can batch 8 transactions. So that's XRPL targeting that. So I don't think that's been passed yet. I haven't been up to date on the amendments, looking at the amendments and what's been coming out lately. So maybe we'll check into that. But they are definitely working on that at least. We've got Aviva's tokenized USD liquidity share class was a recent XRPL landmark earlier in this summer. Convergence is happening as encrypted settlement rails for assets that have already have issuers and assets under management, not as another meme treasury SPAC. So that's legacy systems. If you've already got assets, the convergence is happening. Wintermute USA registers SEC FINRA broker dealer. Details: are Wintermute's New York unit secured broker-dealer status, proprietary trading of U.S. stocks and options, ETF liquidity, authorized participant capability, including crypto-linked ETFs, and a path towards tokenized securities for own accounting pending further approvals. Firm cites over 10 billion in average daily volume across 60 venues, joins a peer set of crypto firms building regulated U.S. securities arms. So Wintermute USA is in the game, with their market structure converging is happening through licenses and AP rails, even when Congress delays the big bill. Yeah, we've got the Clarity news coming up in just a second. Right quick, let's talk about Circle's USYC. This tops the tokenized U.S. Treasuries, near 3 billion assets under management. Circle's USYC, via Hashnote's acquisition, crossed about 3 billion assets under management, ahead of BlackRock's Buildle, which is about 2.7 billion, and Ondo's USDY 2.1 billion. The product is multi-chain, short-duration treasury exposure usable as on-chain collateral with USDC distribution adjacency. Explanation: stablecoin issuers are winning the cash equivalent stack on public rails. Yield-bearing treasuries as programmable collateral is the institutional bridge product. Yeah, USYC is Circle's their tokenized U.S. Treasuries. 3 billion assets under management. And you know, these stablecoin issuers, they're going to buy these treasuries. That's the whole point of Trump's plan, is to fill the world full of US dollar stablecoins, and those issuers have to buy the treasuries to mint the stablecoins. And of course, the issuers get to keep all of the yield off of those treasuries, and the stablecoin holders, they want to restrict our yield access through the Clarity Act. You know, lots of blaming this and blaming that on the Clarity Act not passing, although I've got news on closure that they did bring it to closure early this morning, I think. I've got it coming up in just a second here. But yeah, let's just stay with getting it all going. You know, we'll see what they do. Right quick, let's see about Russia. You know, I've had this thought. Russia signs their first comprehensive crypto trading law. You know, payments are still banned though, but they have made a move, and we have to react, guys. We have to get something going fast. You know, you can't, you know, supposedly the U.S. went to the moon first, and it was a competition. You know, it's something like that. That's what's going on right now. The America needs to step up and make the move before we get left behind, as Trump keeps talking about. And, you know, you have to do it. You got to get involved in this stuff, or we will be left behind. So Russia is ready to go. Details are, let's see, they called it Federal Law 282FZ. Licenses trading under the Bank of Russia supervision, keeps domestic payments banned, and sets about a 300,000 ruble, which is $3,700 annual retail purchase cap per intermediary or regulator approved assets. So if you're a Russian citizen, and I think you have to be accredited, I'm not sure, but it's still a cap at $3,700 is all you can put into crypto every year. Wow. and also their cross-border trade settlement carve-outs sit outside the domestic payment ban. Cross-border trade settlement carve-outs sit outside of the domestic payment ban. Oh, well, of course, cross-border payments are different. They're going to look at those everywhere they can. They're going to analyze those way more with money coming in and out of the country. Authoritarian license the threat model. Controlled investment channel. Blocked permissionless payments. Watch the approved asset list before September 1st. So the approved asset list coming out of Russia before September 1st. That's pretty big. That reminds me of the news we had on who was it? What bank was it? It was a big bank. Was it Wells Fargo recently with their stablecoin deal where they said they will be tokenizing deposits? Covered that the other day, but they made it out like once something else happens beyond that, then it was they were saying once liquidity and faster and easier payments happen, they'll turn on I think it was something like AI, the speed of AI payments. I can't remember exactly the words, forgive me for that, but you could tell that they were talking about they're going to be using a private ledger. But after that, once the system gets going, to me, that sounds like they'll start implementing like a bridge neutral asset between the private ledgers. That's the way I read into that. Okay, we've got DeFi and RWA tokenization. Oh yeah. So this is my first live, and I've got my whole, my background's all planned, and I've been forgetting about it this whole time. So yeah, I've had we're on DeFi now. So I was supposed to go through the general crypto market. I had this planned, went past all that. Oh my God. Then we talked about, okay, we're only on DeFi, yeah. I'm all lost now. We did the Lightning, we did the BIP fork. Let's get to crypto convergence. There we go. Losing my place, guys. I'll catch up in just a minute. We're doing it live. I did Circle Treasuries. Tether takes Hadron tokenization into Saudi real estate. Tether's deploying Hadron with local partners. First Data and BKN 301 framing for institutional real estate tokenization under Saudi Vision 2030 themes with stated intent to expand asset classes later. So we're seeing this over and over. They always say stated intents to expand or to improve later on once everything's running. So guys, we are right before takeoff for utility rails. All right, come on, let's keep going. Regulatory developments. Early Saturday afternoon, this morning, just got this report in. Majority Leader Thune filed the motion to proceed on HR 3633 Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. That starts the multi-step cloture process, so an initial procedural vote can land almost immediately when the Senate returns in September. The August floor vote window is now gone. Open fights remain government ethics, illicit finance, law enforcement language, and stablecoin yield rewards. Bill still needs roughly about 10 Democratic votes to clear 60. And there's a few Republican votes as well, I do believe. But that is good that they finally filed a motion to proceed today. So that's a big win. And looks like we have to wait till they come back in September, though. We've got more regulatory developments across or overseas. Bybit sues North Korea. Lazarus over a $1.5 billion hack. Okay, good luck with that. Brazil tightens transfer. I mean, what court are they going to take? What court is Bybit going to take the North Korean hacking group Lazarus to? You know, what jurisdiction is that? We shall see. Brazil tightens transfers. So here's two things going on, and here's the explanation for those things. Bybit secured a preliminary injunction freezing stolen assets while suing DPRK and Lazarus over $1.5 billion exploit. All right, Brazil moved to tighten crypto transfer rules to curb fraud, and separate U.S. sanctions pressure continued against Iranian-linked crypto exchange rails. Hey, what's up, Lizard King? Good to see you, buddy. As always, hope you guys are doing good this Saturday. Just going through the market intel report. Russia signed their first comprehensive crypto trading law. We just talked about this, but there's a little more under regulatory developments. We have to keep an eye on all the countries, what we're all doing. That's wild. You can only buy $3.7 thousand worth of crypto a year in Russia. Purchase cap, and payments are still banned, and cross-border trade settlement carve-outs sit outside the domestic payment ban. Interesting. Cross-border trade. How are they going to regulate that, you know? Weird. Abidi says, oh, damn, one thing they're not doing is looking out for retail. You can guarantee that. They're all worried about mainly the sanctions part of it first. And everything else is secondary to that, I would assume. Still getting used to my new headphones, ear pods, whatever you call them. I'm way off on my screens here, my backdrop. So yeah, we do DeFi and RWA tokenization now. I'm going to take a quick look at RWA.XYZ. Distributed asset value. This went up $1 billion. 38 now. That was just 37, 2 days ago? And this is, remember we talked about this 38. This is distributed asset value. This is actual real world assets that are locked up on chain. And this is the one beside it here, the 365 billion. That's representative value. That means you don't own the asset, you own a representation of the asset. So there's a big deal where everyone needs to learn the difference between if you're actually holding the asset or you're holding the representation of the asset. You know, the actual asset for a stock would be like inside the company's bylaws. Stocks are created. If they want to go public, they have to give them to the DTCC, and the DTCC collateralizes them and turns them into tokenized stocks on their back-end private ledger. That's where the value is. And only from there, they're mirroring it over to the public ledgers where you get this distributed asset value on the left there, the 38 billion. So I wonder if they're counting it twice. Probably not. No, they can't be, because it would be way higher over here. But you got to figure out where the value actually is, you know. We've got on the Intel report, tokenized RWA deposits into DeFi jump while broader DeFi contracts. Tokenized deposits into lending and DEX venues reported near 7.4 billion from about 2.3 earlier this year. Wow. Even as broader DeFi contracted 15% over the same window. Ethereum remains a dominant settlement layer for tokenized credit. RWA share narratives in the cut. Capital is concentrating into regulated looking yield collateral inside DeFi, not rotating informally across speculative liquidity. Ondo control fight after the founder's death. It's been, about 4 or 5 months since Ondo founder died. Lizard says, if it's not for us, how is clarity the people's work? If it's not for us, how is clarity the people's work? I don't know what that means, Lizard. How would it? Maybe I'm not getting it. Back to Ondo. Kathleen Allman, mother of late former Nathan, which I guess was the founder, Allman. She filed in Delaware seeking control and removal of the CEO from Ondo, EMD Bode. DeBode calls claims from her meritless and cites lead investor foundation support. Parallel board consent and removal votes are disputing the filings. Oh, they've got a big board shakeup over at Ondo since the founder's death, and the wife coming in, or actually the mother coming in and trying to remove the CEO at Ondo. RWA market leaders now carry key person governance legal risks. Product rails can keep running while equity control is litigated. Watch operational continuity claims, not just token price. So yeah, these are centralized entities locking up these tokens, minting these RWA tokens. So what happens when they have a huge fallout, or someone dies like this, or what happens to your assets? That's what the clarity market's for. You have to separate all that. They have to separate the risks, just like with centralized exchanges. They're going to make them separate the assets, where if it goes under, that's on the holding company or whatever. That's the insurance company that's separated from the from, like it was with crypto or FTX, that fallout shenanigans. But that's a good time for the cold card hack to rush people onto exchanges just in time to take out the exchanges, or hack something with a centralized exchange right before the Clarity Act comes in and safeguards all that. And so it's still a really scary world, especially right now at this point, guys. What else do we have here? Let's get to AI and blockchain. One of my favorite segments. MetaMask hands AI agents a self-constrained self-custodial wallet. Agent wallets get agents monitor and execute on-chain trades inside user-defined limits, which are allow lists, simulation, threat scanning, gas abstraction on supported flows. Morning briefings framed it as a major self-custody AI release. Explanation: local user-controlled agent execution is the sovereignty-friendly path versus cloud bots holding keys. Limits and simulations are difference between demo and production risks. For AI agents, user spending limits, allow list, simulation, threat scanning, and MEV protections. Agent wallets are the UX layer for autonomous on-chain capital. That's so interesting to give an agent a wallet. That's why I'm doing it, guys. I've set up, a multi-sig wallet for my, I built my Linux server for this and for this AI local computing that I'm doing, and large language models I'm running locally in conjunction with frontier models. I thought I could do it all with my own large language models, but when you get into tool calling, having your agents actually do things besides just chatting with them, that requires so many tokens. I had no idea. So I'm definitely using my local compute for the compression and auxiliary models and some profiles. I'm able to, I've got different profiles for different things, and they all come together. And it's the wildest thing. I've been so, when I first got into crypto, it was like, wow, this is so cool. But now I'm into the AI agents, and, I'm going to give it, I might give it $50. Who knows? It's just play around money to try it out and see what the agent can do. I've got it where it's got two different user accounts or non-privileged users that where it has no credentials. The wallet has no credentials. It's like isolated, and there's two different wallets with multi-sig. Both of them have to sign. It's a pretty cool system. But now they're coming out with, Ethereum's got their MetaMask agent wallet. I've never really been a big fan of Ethereum with the fees. I understand they are getting cheaper. I do love I'm starting out first with the WebAuth wallet because of the feeless architecture. I'm taking a chance on WebAuth because the Metal X has no liquidity hardly, but to me, it's got like the best DeFi system I've seen with so many options and so many coins, and the wallet has so many native layer ones on it as well. The native mainnets, different mainnets, not just Metallica's mainnets, all of them, but yeah, agents running on chain with wallets in their pocket, supposedly usually they're for paying for compute and different things. If my agent is missing a piece of data that it needs to make a decision, instead of it going out and doing this, processing the tokens and the script or whatever, it could just pay another agent for that data. And it could find it in milliseconds, and with all the data coming together, it's pretty wild. Let me check up with the chat. What's up, Conflict? Good to see you. All right, everybody's coming back. I know it's been a while, guys. I take my breaks from streaming, but I'm kind of a perfectionist. I like to bring the best content I can, and I feel like I'm doing something right here with these AI agent market intel reports. It's so much info that I'm able to relay. And now that I'm doing it live, I think it's better. Yep. One thing they're not doing is looking out for retail. That's right. It's the banks. It's always the banks. Yeah, they want to blame this person and that person for Clarity not finishing, but it did take the banks over a year to agree on giving us a fraction of a percent of a yield off of a stable coin or whatever they decided on. So that's who to blame. It's usually the banks. That's right, IBD. We've got still an AI and blockchain miners AI pivot, still execution selective. Bernstein favors clean spark on AI lease execution, while Mara awaits first commercial AI contract. Both miners posted heavy Q2 losses. So you've got all these miners, all these big businesses that are switching their compute over to AI compute instead of processing the Bitcoin blockchain, especially during the lower Bitcoin prices. And don't forget, we got that soft fork coming up this weekend on Bitcoin. All right, let's get to prediction markets. All right. Details. We've got AI or OpenAI pauses Astra work over critical cyber capabilities. OpenAI paused internal activities around in-development model Astra after evaluation showed significant agentic coding and cybersecurity advances. Under its preparedness framework, critical includes autonomous 0 days against hardened systems or end-to-end novel attack strategies from high-level goals. Companies cite stricter models and universal monitoring for risky agentic actions, separate from earlier Hugging Face incident. These frontier labs are now gating release on cyber capability, not just chat quality, directly relevant to crypto's bug surface problem. That may have been in the wrong segment because I'd had to combine 2 different days. So I took the 8th, which is today, on the market intel report and combined against the 7th. So if I miss a day, I get behind and I try to combine it all. So that may have been on the wrong one. Yeah, that should be under AI, but let's keep going to predictions. Prediction venues are simultaneously a useful policy signal and a regulatory target. Use odds as intel, not as a safe product endorsement. And these odds are great intelligence, might I say. What everybody thinks, when have we had that before? What everybody is thinking, consensus. That is consensus. The prediction markets is a new type of human consensus that we've never had before. So what better polls or data do we need than running consensus on prediction markets? Very cool. What's up, Mojo? Let's go. All right, good to see you. Get the popcorn ready, says Mojo. Prediction market enforcement noise in the states. Michigan federal judge denied Coinbase's bid to block state enforcement against sport events contracts. Denied Coinbase's bid to block state enforcement. Okay. So, yeah, of course they're going to deny a private company trying to block the state. This is called an applesauce ruling language. Okay. Whatever that means. Applesauce ruling. Okay. Separate Democratic pressures continue on wildfire event contracts. Oh, my. Can you imagine betting on catastrophes? I know I do markets, but I don't know if I'll be into that market. That's kind of a wild. I know you can bet on weather, and I didn't know you could do catastrophic events. That's pretty crazy. Event contract policies remain a fragmented state-federal fight, even as national market structure stalls. So the CFTC did give the green light on prediction markets in the states, and we've had a few states that stepped up and have agreed, but several states are fighting this, of course, because they want their cut as well. They want to get a piece of the pie. You can't just have free civilians doing free activity without the government coming in and trying to get their piece of their pie. Okay, risk and opportunity analysis. September clarity window is thin. 60 vote math plus ethics fight plus midterm gravity after a short mid-September session. It's going to be tough, guys, to get this in September. I'm not sure how many people are talking about like an executive order or something like that coming out because of the, Russia's moving, Japan's moving. If everybody's moving, we've got to move. And you've got elections coming up, right? They're not worried about crypto. I mean, they're being forced, to me. None of them want to do crypto. They're all being forced by either the voters or Trump or whoever to get this crypto stuff in. I mean, how many of them actually like crypto? What do you think the percentage is, or they even know about it? I mean, I'm sure there's a few, but wow. Yeah, it's going to be tough in September. At least we had a closure filed today. So that's awesome. It's ready for vote when they get back. We shall see. ME Security Premium. Saudi, we're still on the risks. Crypto market risks, overall market risks. Saudi, Turkey, Pakistan defense pact plus ongoing Iran corridor stress can respike oil and risk off faster than payrolls can soothe. Custody migration after cold card. LTH supply drops can be misread as distribution. Hardware RNG failures damage self-custody confidence. And we've got the Ondo governance litigation risk. That company there is having internal problems since the founder passed away. Lizard says, we wanted them to vote. Soon they'll want us to vote. Another risk, agent safety. AI wallet autonomy arrives alongside repeated model containment failures. The Hormuz still unresolved. Oil near $78 to $84 keeps inflation and volatility floor under risk assets until a real shipping framework prints. And we've got the clarity, still a 60 vote problem. Today's motion helps process, not whip count. Ethics and stablecoin yield fights can kill September. Still fighting over ethics and stablecoin yield. Yeah, if they wanted to, they could. I don't know. I know everybody's kind of frustrated with this, but we do know this process is like molasses dripping out of a jar. Payment stack exploits, Bitcoin Pay, and Lightning credential theft shows self-hosted merchant rails are under active attack. Yeah, self-custody is under attack. Warning, right? They're definitely attacking self-custody. They want you on these centralized exchanges before laws come into place where these exchanges are protected, where your deposits are protected. So they're definitely pushing you onto centralized exchanges right now. And I cannot help but think that the timing of it all, right? Right before legislation where people's deposits are protected, people's crypto on centralized exchanges are protected. So, I mean, they're going to go there thinking that it's safer than self-custody now, which is obviously not always correct, of course. ETH monetary policy noise, EIP 8363 debate injects issuance uncertainty into staking and DeFi base rates. Okay, opportunities. ETF rail bid is real. 4 green Bitcoin sessions. Wow, Monday through Thursday, we're all green this week, guys, on Bitcoin. And more opportunities. Soft labor path, weaker payrolls, reduced near-term hike odds, constructive for duration, and risk assets if the CPI cooperates. And TradeFi licenses compound. TradFi, Wintermute, broker-dealer, plus Circle USYC leadership, and the Tether Hadron Gulf expansion are infrastructure wins. The agent and RWA stack, constraint agent wallets, plus yield-bearing tokenized treasuries are practical rails narrative for the next cycle. And 5 Bitcoin ETF inflow days. Real primary market demand into soft labor impulse. That's a probably, one of the safer routes for all these people scared about cold storage. The ETF route is a safer route as well, versus I would consider that personally, not financial advice on the channel, but I would consider probably an ETF safer than a centralized exchange, right? Clarity is finally on the formal closure calendar. Today's initial vote path exists. We're dead for 2026 was becoming the base case. Now we've got the first closure step in the books today. That way, when they come back in September, they're ready to go. Hopefully, they can get it done. We shall see. XRPL confidential transfers plus the RWA book. Privacy, batching, and sponsorship amendments mapped to a live 1.38 billion distributed RWA. It's not vapor. RWA deposits 7.4 billion versus shrinking DEX spot. Shrinking DEX spot orders are down. Capital preference is clear. Tokenized real assets and cash equivalents over pure DeFi turnover. AI recommendations. Watch the CPI Monday and the Monday ETF open. Jobs bounce only sticks if the inflation data does not rearm September hike odds. Confirm whether the 5-session Bitcoin ETF streak extends. 4 green days or 5? That'd be kind of weird if we had another one. Probably a good time to short Bitcoin Monday. We shall see. We'll watch the ETF, see if there's another inflow. There may be. You never know what it'll do. Patch Lightning, Bitcoin Pay Stacks. Treat credential hygiene as urgent ops, not optional research. More recommendations. Track the clarity tax fights. The ethics, the illicit finance, stablecoin rewards are the kill switches before any September closure math matters. Okay, midterm, 1 to 3 months. September Senate window is the clarity banner. Motion to proceed is necessary. We need 10 Democratic votes and cleaned ethic language. Validator path on the XRPL, 3.3.0 amendments, 80%. 2-week clock is the real institutional privacy unlock timeline. In the EIP 30 or 8363 trajectory for Ethereum, if it graduates from draft to serious governance, reassess ETH staking and LST assumptions. Long term, 6 to 12 months out, prefer Rails over digital asset treasury theater. ETF primary markets, tokenized treasuries, funds, and confidential institutional transfers on the XRP ledger. Security posture is a product feature. AI accelerated exploit discovery makes payment, custody, and key management quality and durable moat. And we saw where agents have a new wallet, AI wallet made for agents from MetaMask. More long-term RWA stablecoin banking stack and the price profit and loss that looks like banking reserves, tokenized cash, balance sheets is the multi-year winner set. Okay, risk warnings. Geopolitical escalation, hardware wallet, agent execution failures. Sorry about that. There we go. ETF flows reverse quickly. 4 green sessions are not a permanent bid. I say what I say. Is the RLUSD real lab a security? LOL. Is the RLUSD real lab? No, Ripple Labs. Is it a security? No, it doesn't secure anything. You know that. You know that I say what I say. No security unless you get a dividend or interest in a company, right? I mean, that'd be nice to get interest in the ROUSD and get yield off of it, which we deserve, because Ripple's getting the yield off of the backing. That's the whole point. That's one reason they want to become a bank, is to get the discount on the because they're a bank, they get a discount on the treasuries. Key metrics to watch: July CPI print and revised Fed watch. September October hike odds. Post NFP mid 40 September. Poly market clarity, yes, this year, about 13 cents. I guess that's a share for Poly market. Circle US YC versus Buildle assets under management race. The Ondo Delaware case docket. The cold card LTH supply stabilization after a $210,000 Bitcoin migration week. So because of the cold card, you had 2010 Bitcoin moving out of dormant wallets that were activated because of the scare. So that's big news right there on the Intel report. I say what I say. That's why the banks are not wanting to pay people for holding their money, but we shall see blockchain styles. Yes, sir. That's right. Blockchain is going to change everything. And, I hope there's still kind of, they can limit stablecoin direct treasury yield payments to holders, but they were going to leave on-chain rewards in place. So that means that we can develop our own system of rewards that's out of the restrictions, hopefully. Key metrics to watch still. Poly market, we got that. The Fed September hike odds. XRPO confidential transfers validator support. We need 80% on the vote within, it says 2 weeks, I think. It says it's equal or greater to 2 weeks. So I guess that's up for vote, the confidential transfers for the tokenized assets on the XRP ledger. Let me see if I can maybe find out any more on that. IBD says they're not going to pay us shit. They're going to try their best not to give us anything. You know that, IBD. Confidential transfers right here. Crypto conditions. What's that? Okay, that's right beneath it. What is crypto conditions? Although amendment is disabled. This amendment was intended to support several types of crypto conditions. I don't know. Deep freeze. Okay, let's get to what we were looking for. Confidential transfer provides institutional grade privacy for multi-purpose tokens using advanced cryptography. EC-EL GAML and ZK proofs. Individual balances and transfer amounts remain shielded from public ledger while maintaining compliance mechanisms for authorized parties, issuers, auditors, and designated entities to verify total supply and meet regulatory obligations. So individual balances and transfer amounts remain shielded. Okay, so you can still see the wallet and still see, the public address of the wallet and that a transfer was made, and you can still see who it was made to, but you cannot see individual balances. Okay. So I guess it doesn't show the public, the public key, because that would have the individual balance. So you could just cross-reference it. Okay, lots to learn about privacy for multi-purpose tokens, but just know that Ripple has released this amendment, or the validators have. They have to vote on it. Open for voting 0%. So it looks like they don't have any voted. Maybe it starts in 2 weeks. Maybe that's what it means. XLS 96 confidential transfers, private auditable transactions for multi-purpose tokens. Okay, key dates. Here we go. Okay, this is already past January 14th, 26, XLS spec live. So, you know, key dates are all as far as building it. It's built now, and now we're ready to vote on it. So just guessing, I assume that vote takes place, or it opens for votes within 2 weeks. Or maybe it's enabled. That's mean it's open for vote now. Enablement. Here we go. Success. Crypto conditions. That's not it. We want confidential transfers. Okay, so like crypto conditions, it says enabled. That was enabled back in, okay, that's already voted on. So they keep all the amendments on this page. Interesting. IBD says that's big. Build an AI agent to seek out the best yield. Yeah, that's partially what I'm doing with the with my agent. You know, I wish y'all see what comes out of it, but I'm definitely giving it. You know, I gave it the Proton CLI, and it's got the XPR dev skill, where I can read all that. It's got the market making skill, where, you know, you can look at all the markets on the Metallicus ecosystem and figure out which one's paying. You know, I'm even going to try to set it up where I can borrow off one asset and round robin, you know, because I mean, wouldn't it be nice to catch it while it's still available? They pay you to borrow on the lending protocol. So, I mean, at XRP, they were paying you like 10% just to borrow XRP at one point. So if they're going to keep doing that, I'm going to be borrowing and getting yield for borrowing, not lending. And then I'll go deposit that and into another pool. You know, that's a lot of farming that can be done. That's right, Conflict. That's right. You're an AI agent. I am. Fed September hikes. We're still going over the key metrics to watch. Fed September hikes and the confidential transfers, the Bitcoin Pay LND patch. Yeah, Lightning had a big hack today or yesterday. Support adoption for expanding loss figures. That's about it for the Intel report. We covered a lot today. I covered through two days. So maybe we just kind of hang out now and how long we've been going here. Oh, wow. Been going an hour already. I do have some things to do today, but yeah, I think I'll get out of here. Actually, this was my first live market intel report. Had a little issue on my backdrops. Trying to make it where each segment has its own backdrop. I've got my greetings video here. And I've got my do that. Market intel report. Crypto and traditional finance convergence. I think these are all really good topics to keep up to date on. RWAs, regulatory developments, AI and blockchain, prediction markets. That one's trippy. Risk opportunity analysis. AI recommendations. Back to that. And this is where I'll jump off and wish everybody a happy Saturday. This is not financial advice. This has been your market intel report for August 7th and 8th. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. Guys, have a great day. Get out there, touch some grass, and I will see you on the next one. Mr. Conectr out. Peace.